Hello, and welcome back to the final couplet. You might have noticed that I have a guest today for the 50th episode, and that guest is Jacob Fortune-Lloyd. You might know Jacob from such shows as the Queens Gambit, where he played Towns. You might have seen him in The Power, where he played Ricky Monk. Or you might indeed have seen him most recently in the Netflix show Bodies. He was also named in Screen International's Stars of Tomorrow for being a star of tomorrow, which is good, isn't it? And he's done a lot of stage work for the Royal Shakespeare Company and the Globe, the double. So his knowledge of Shakespeare is pretty bloody good. So we're very lucky to have him on the show, on the pod. He's a funny and informative guy, and I hope you have as much fun listening to this as I did recording it. Hello, Jacob.
Hello, Theo.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here in your lovely studio.
Great to have you. It's a nice studio, isn't it?
It's a very nice studio. Very flexible.
Very flexible. Spent a lot of money on this, baby.
Also nice to be together on Easter Sunday.
Lovely to be together on Easter Sunday. A great day to rejoice.
We would probably be in church.
I
don't know if we should really be working, but...
Well, is this work or is this pleasure?
Indeed.
Can you have pleasure on Easter?
I think it's quite a joyful day.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, that's when Jesus came back.
Resurrection.
Yeah, the resurrection. Came back to life.
Came back to life.
But did he die also in the period of Easter?
Yes. Friday?
Friday. So Friday more of a somber day. Monday.
Saturday, I guess, is very somber too. And then
Saturday
Sunday is the
somber.
big rejoicing day.
Yeah, because you don't know he's going to come back in those days.
No.
So just pure grieving. So that's good to get that out of the way. So obviously we're here to talk about Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Shakespeare, of course, is a writer. He's written quite a lot of plays and, in fact, a lot of sonnets.
154.
154 to be precise. And maybe there's more.
Yeah, could
that
be.
we don't know about.
Yeah, because it was, as I understand it, collected together, right, in 1609. So who knows? And that guy made some decisions about what was in, what was out.
Exactly.
And the order.
Something to think about.
Something to think about there.
I've got a few questions before we start, before we dive in.
Oh my God.
First of all, what's your relationship with Shakespeare? How well do you know him?
Yeah, I've been pretty intimate with him at times. Done some plays of his.
Of course.
Yeah.
At the Royal Shakespeare
At the Royal Shakespeare Company, I did a couple, yeah. And at the Globe.
At the Globe as well.
Those are two pretty classic Shakespeare institutions there.
It's fantastic.
And studied him at university.
Wow. You've really...
And, yeah.
So you've got a pretty strong relationship with
the... pretty strong relationship, yeah.
With the great man.
With the great man, yeah. No, I love him.
I've got some words here.
Oh.
And they all were invented by Sir William Shakespeare.
Oh, no, you're not going to make me guess what they mean.
Yeah, I am. Exactly. That's
right,
the game.
Come on then.
This is an icebreaker. So the first
break my
word...
spirit early on.
Look, I'm not expecting you to know what any of these mean.
Okay, good.
This is just... and if you just want to invent what you think the meaning is, what it sounds like it could be,
Most likely.
which is probably what
Scenario,
we'll come to. Right, the first word is sneap.
Sneap.
Yeah, to sneap.
To sneap.
To
The
sneap.
verb.
Yep, to sneap.
I'm going to say it's something to do with like sneaking and spying, but in a sleepy way, in like a gentle, soft...
A soft spy.
Like a soft creeping.
I like that. It's not the actual meaning. The actual meaning is to snub.
Oh.
Rebuke.
Rebuke, okay. To sneap.
In many ways, yours is... Well, it works better.
Me. I feel so sneaped.
Second word, sluggardized.
Oh, sluggardized. Well, sluggardized. A sluggard. That's a thing, isn't it? A sluggard. Sluggardly? Sluggedly?
Yeah,
Sluggishly?
Sluggishly.
Snuggadized.
Sluggadized.
That's it. Enough times, maybe. Sluggadized. Okay. To be like sat on by a very large, slow person.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. So moving on. No, that is to be made into an idler.
Right, so it's like
So it is kind of like sluggish, yeah.
Lazy.
It's a similar vibe. Probably
to be
sluggish.
made into I like to be for someone to say that you are that thing, even if you're not.
Good question.
To be made into an idler, or like to be like to lose your job.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it could be that. Could be either.
Forced unemployment.
I haven't researched well enough to give you
but you've given
an
me the
explanation.
definition. Good enough, yeah.
That's the definition. Number 3, noddle.
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 Oh, a good noddle.
And this is actually a thing. This is.
Oh, it's an object.
It's an object. Well, yeah.
All right, I was going to go for like a good hug, but no,
No,
it's not that.
no,
Okay,
no,
so a
so-
noddle. A noddle sounds like a nodule or a knob. Which I mean the door kind.
Yeah.
A noddle.
Although actually with knob, the other type of knob, you are onto the right. It is a body part.
Oh, it's a body part.
Yeah.
A noddle. Well, could it be the head?
Well, back of the head specifically.
Back of the head.
Very good.
Back of the head.
Back of the head. This one is an all-time favourite of mine.
Oh yeah.
Kicky Wicky.
Oh wow. Kicky Wicky. That's when I know this one. That's when you're peeved that you've just been run out of the crease in cricket, and you lash out at the wicket as you leave.
Because Shakespeare was a big cricket
cricket
head.
fan, cricket head.
That is Kicky Wicky.
So kick the wicket.
Okay, well, very good guess. Couldn't be further from the truth.
You amaze me.
The real answer, girlfriend or wife.
No.
My Kicky Wicky.
My Kicky Wicky.
Let's bring that back.
Oh.
I mean...
It's nicer than ball and chain.
It is nicer than ball and chain.
Wicky.
Number 5, Junker.
Blimey, Junker.
Younker.
Younker. Junker. Drawing a massive blank on that one. Junker. No, I've got nothing.
Fashionable young gentleman.
Oh, okay.
Number 6, mitching.
Mitching.
Mm.
Mitching. I don't know if it like sounds a bit like mincing, or it makes me think of like a way someone walks or moves.
Well, interestingly, it could be, but your answer to sneep is actually what mitching is sneaking.
Oh,
lurking,
mitching around.
Yeah, mitching around. And finally, to finish the icebreaker, and I feel like we've broken some serious ice.
Yeah.
Babcock.
Now that's one I feel like I do know and have heard, and it sounds like something. I feel like it's something someone says of another person, a descriptor.
Correct.
And I feel like it's something that someone like Falstaff would say of Hal in Henry IV, but I can't really remember what it is. My instinct is that it's negative, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a good thing.
It is in fact positive.
Is it positive? Babcock. I don't know. Okay, a sprightly, energetic, witty young lad.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think you've expanded on it. I mean, it's just good chap.
Good. Just good.
Fine fellow.
A fine fellow. A Babcock.
A nice guy. Great guy. Beautiful guy.
I might describe a friend of mine you haven't met next time. He's like, what's he like? He's a Babcock, you know. And you'll be like, oh, I see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
Bring some
so it's like when we were young, we were like, yeah, he's safe.
Yeah, he's safe, yeah.
He's safe, yeah.
Yeah, he's Babcock, yeah. Don't worry about him, he's Babcock. He's going to fit right in.
No, he's cool. He's Babcock.
I think a lot of these words should come back into the English language.
Kicky Wicky particularly.
Kicky Wicky is just fantastic.
Kicky Wicky, mitching.
Sneep.
The noddle. Was it noddle?
Noddle, back of the head.
Use your noddle.
Use your noddle, for God's sake. Noggin is...
It's noggin,
it's
yeah.
noggin, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Similar
that's not specifically the back.
No, that's whole head, isn't it?
Whole head, yeah.
Fantastic. That's
great.
the end of section 1. So, now we move on to Sonnet 50. It's a big landmark.
Huge.
I've done 49 of these so far. Wow. That's a lot of sonnets to get through.
That's a lot of sonnets. That's almost a third.
Almost a third. It's exciting to be here.
It's like a year's worth almost of sonnets.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Every week. Thanks to the listeners out there.
Yeah. Hungry.
So Sonnet 50, I mean, we're in for a real treat with Sonnet 50. And a little spoiler, Sonnet 50 and 51 are linked together. And usually I forget this and I do a sonnet on its own, and I realise the next week that they're really linked, and I've done a story around them and everything, and it gets a bit messy. But Jacob kindly has offered to do both of them. So this is going to be a double bill.
Double header.
Jacob, if you could read Sonnet 50 for us as is, that would be fantastic.
It's a big moment. Okay then. Sonnet 50. How heavy do I journey on the way, when what I seek, my weary travels end, doth teach that ease and that repose to say, thus far the miles are measured from thy friend. The beast that bears me, tired with my woe, plods dully on, to bear that weight in me, as if by some instinct the wretch did know his rider loved not speed, being made from thee. The bloody spur cannot provoke him on, that sometimes anger thrusts into his hide, which heavily he answers with a groan, more sharp to me than spurring to his side. For that same groan doth put this in my mind: my grief lies onward, and my joy behind.
Fantastic. What a reading. It was like Shakespeare himself was here.
Oh, good. Well, people say that the authors' readings of their own work are often very bad.
Okay, so who was good back in the day at acting? What are the big ones?
What's his name? Who's got a big school near here? Dulwich College. What's his name? The founder of Dulwich College. He was a big actor in his day, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yes.
Good.
What's his name?
So...
Sir.
He's.
I can't remember.
So you sounded
anyway.
Just like Sir,
good.
Who founded Dulwich College.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Edward Alleyne. No?
Is that his name? I don't know.
Yeah. Alleyne's is a thing. Alleyne's College, no?
It's Alleyne, yeah, that does ring a bell actually.
Let's go with that.
You know what?
Edward Alleyne.
Okay, so you sounded just like Edward Alleyne.
Oh, thank you.
Not Edward Allen.
Not
Alleyne.
Edward Allen. Alleyne, crucially. Not that we have any recordings of Edward Alleyne.
No, of course. But one can imagine. I mean, it
Absolutely.
felt like he was in the room.
Oh.
And it's actually a big shame that we don't really acknowledge those actors of that time. And it makes me think, in 500 years, will we be thinking about Brad Pitt? Well, we won't, because we'll be dead, but will they?
Will they? I hope so.
I hope so as well. Specifically Brad Pitt.
Specifically Brad Pitt, yeah.
He's the big one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right, let's get into what the hell this sonnet means, shall we?
Yeah, a depressing one for the joyful day of the resurrection.
Really, we should have been reading this on Friday.
Yeah. Let's
take it sort of line by line.
Okay.
Or as a chunk, because I think it'll enlighten the listeners a little bit on what he's chatting about. So if we take the first little section... How heavy do I journey on the way, when what I seek my weary travels end, doth teach that ease and that repose to say, thus far the miles are measured from thy friend.
Yeah.
What's that doing for you?
Well, he's going somewhere, maybe home, perhaps home.
Yeah, perhaps home.
Back to the wife and kids.
Yeah,
which
back
is
to the
hard.
Kicky Wiki.
Back to the Kicky Wiki and the little wikis. Which, you know, is a harsh reality for any man, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but in this case, he's leaving his friend behind him.
And when we say friend, now I've grappled with this for 50 sonnets. When he says friend, can he mean friend, or is it more than that?
It seems to be more than that, doesn't it?
I mean, this is not the chat of someone leaving their mate after a session in the pub, is it?
Yeah. It seems to have been discussed for generations, this, where, you know, men were different with each other back then, some people say. More loving, more open.
I mean, very, very loving.
But yes, I've always read it as his lover,
Yeah.
the man he's in love with.
So have I, but it confuses me a lot when scholars it completely don't acknowledge that at all.
Yeah, I mean, there were periods where all the pronouns in the sonnets were changed.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think in the Elizabethan period to make them feminine pronouns.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's always, and actually, when I was at the RSC
Here we go.
doing The Merchant of Venice,
Mm.
and there was a kiss between two men in the show, which is not strictly scripturally accurate, but is absolutely there in the text.
Yeah.
That relationship.
Mm.
We had a whole school group leave at the interval,
Really?
and someone on the bus home to London was on that bus with that school group, and their teacher was telling them that this was inaccurate and not Shakespeare, and it's not there, and that the company had made it up, and so it's still
Wow,
it
still
still
in the
ruffles
modern
feathers
day.
today.
Wow, that is crazy.
Crazy, yeah. But I mean, he uses the words love and friend in the same
Yeah.
sonnet,
Yeah.
so they're sort of interchangeable.
Yeah.
And I guess they're both, and
Absolutely. I mean, maybe he was a friend, but it seems more than that.
it does
to
seem
me.
more than that. Yeah.
Anyway, he's obviously been with his friend,
Been with his friend.
lover.
I mean, I can't remember the context. Does he say why he's leaving? Was he done something wrong? Or does he just have to go home for a bit?
I think he just has
Has
to go home.
Has the plague broken out?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, in the lead up to all of this, he's been away from his lover. In the previous sort of 5-6 sonnets that I've read, he's been away from it. There's been this distance between him and his friend / lover, and it seems like he's back with him in this one, but then has to leave him again. So I just don't know why he's always coming and going. Maybe it's work. Maybe it is the plague.
Maybe it's the plague. Maybe it's work. Maybe he's just got to go home. He was splitting his time between Stratford and London, wasn't he?
Yeah. So this could be.
And on a horse, that's quite a long journey,
way.
particularly as we'll find a slow horse.
Slow horse.
Slow
Nightmare.
horses. Yeah, I don't know how long that took.
Yeah, it would have taken a while.
It would have taken a while, whole day.
Yeah,
presumably,
if not more.
if not more. Maybe some good service stations along the way.
You'd hope so. Reading services.
The big one at Reading. Yeah.
Pack of quavers. Back on the road.
And the Lucasade. Back on the road. Yeah, I mean, at least some good inns. Must have been some good inns.
Absolutely.
A couple of
yeah.
pints.
You'd have to. Wouldn't
I mean,
you?
you're just walking on a horse. It's not like you have to do much. You don't have to be particularly sober.
No, the horse is doing all the bloody work.
And it's not loads of traffic, is there?
No. I mean,
Oh, you've got to watch the road particularly.
yeah, do you think there were quite a lot of horses on the road just all travelling away?
I guess so, yeah.
It's quite a weird
Was there a
image,
speed
isn't
limit?
it?
Was there an alcohol limit?
I mean, I highly doubt it.
I think back in the day, in last century, when they brought in limits, the alcohol limit compared to what it is now was like laughably high. It was
Was
like
it
you
really?
could drink like 6 pints. And then when they started like reducing, everyone was absolutely outraged. So
The good
God
old
knows what the limit
Yeah,
was
what
then.
was the limit back then? He slamming pints
Barrel
down.
a sack. And no more. Also, people weren't drinking that much water then, were they? Just drinking beer.
because it was actually dangerous to drink water, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At
It was
times.
safer to drink small beer.
Yeah. Wow. What a world.
Mm.
What a life, eh?
Not
Constantly
bad,
pissed.
I mean, it had its perks.
So,
But yes, he's
travelling
saying
away.
he's going home, and he's sad about it. And you know, normally the end of the journey is a good thing, but in this case, all it means is he'll have the space to realize how far he is away now.
yeah, so that's his exclamation at the end of that little section.
Yeah,
Is that I'm home. I'm really far away from my friend, and that's really sad.
yeah. So you, as the journey progresses, normally you're like, I'm getting close to home. In this case, it's I'm just getting further away from you.
It's very sad.
It's brutal.
So we continue on with the beast that bears me, tired with my woe, plods dully on to bear that weight in me. So the beast is obviously his horse.
Yeah,
Beast.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, some people use the word beast in quite a positive way now.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't think in this case it's particularly positive.
My
Feels
beast.
like-
My horse is a beast.
He's a beast.
He's unbelievable.
He's a creature. He's not a... you could call him horse. But then beast that bears is nicer than horse that bears.
Yeah, it's much nicer. It does sound nicer. He must have been thinking about that.
He must have been, yeah.
But if I was the horse, I'd be a bit gutted to just be called a beast.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'd have a name. Did they name animals back then? I don't know.
Shakespeare names lots of horses in his plays.
He does, actually. That's right. So weird that he hasn't given his horse a name in this.
No.
Probably not enough time to... It doesn't work as well if he's called his horse John. John that bears me.
John that bears me. Yeah, there are plenty of B's though. Basil
that bears me.
Basil that bears me. I mean, there are Benedict.
Could
have called him after one of his characters.
Beatrice
could be Beatrice. We don't know the horse's sex.
We don't know the horse's sex. There we go. It might be nicer just for the horses.
Benvolio
that bears me.
Benvolio that bears me.
Something to think about for Shakespeare if he was going to do a rewrite. Give the horse a bloody name.
Give the horse a name.
The horse he's talking about the horse carrying him.
Yeah, the horse is carrying him, and the horse is tired with his misery. It's a bit like saying he's like sick of it.
Yeah.
Like sick of my sadness. He's sick of my sadness. Or he's just literally weighed down with, because Shakespeare is heavier than you'd normally be, right?
Yeah,
he's like slumped.
That's good.
Physically slumped in
because
his
if he was upright, it wouldn't be quite as...
Yeah, if you're riding a horse, in my limited experience, you're not supposed to like sit deep in the saddle.
No, right. Yeah, you're meant to have a good posture.
Yeah. If you're riding anyone.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want
to... You never want to be slumped.
You don't want to be slumped.
No,
you want to be carrying your own weight.
Absolutely.
Somewhat.
Don't give all your weight to poor Benvolio.
And he's plodding dully on.
Yeah.
I like that, dully on, because it's actually quite hard to say.
Yeah.
Plods dully on, and I feel like the poem is slow and depressed.
Yeah.
So it's one of those words where he's like, helps you.
Definitely. It does instruct the way you read it, doesn't it? It's very it is plodding.
It's very plodding, yeah.
So to bear that weight in me. Yeah, I mean, it's bearing his sadness, right? I mean...
Yeah. Well, he starts talking about how the horse is matching the mood of Shakespeare.
Yeah, right. They're
both sort of heavy and slow and
what
depressed.
A sad sight.
Yeah.
If you're walking past that, and people were probably walking past it because they're going so slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd see him coming for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you'd be right next to, I don't know how wide the roads were, probably not very.
Both of them with their heads bowed down.
Yeah.
Crying.
Shakespeare a bit smashed from the last inn.
It's such a sad sight.
Crying.
Oh, God.
Covered in flies that they're not even bothering to swat away.
It's horrible.
Shakespeare's probably weed himself. He can't be bothered to get off.
Oh, what an image.
And then there's plods dully on to bear that way to me, as if by some instinct the wretch did know his rider loved not speed being made from thee, which is interesting.
Yeah, what do you make of that then?
Well, it's like saying that the horse is intuiting that he should go slowly, because the faster he goes, the quicker he leaves the love behind.
Yeah.
Like the horse is involved in the love story.
Which is quite amazing, actually.
Yeah. It's a kind of union of horse and man.
Yeah. And like how animals can sort of understand human feelings and I mean, that's classic, isn't it? But
yeah, and people always talk about horses being particularly sensitive, don't they?
And dogs.
And dogs. Yeah. We don't ride dogs.
Hopefully not. I mean...
Well, children. I get little children too.
Little children on a big dog.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
But horses are supposed to be the most sensitive animals, one of the most sensitive animals, right?
It's very interesting that, a horse will... Well, he's saying that if he's sort of hunched over and somber, that the horse would just go at a pace that matches that.
Yeah.
Whereas if he's upright and maybe more sprightly, and the horse will be galloping away. Yeah.
The horse is sort of sympathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like some ancient, depressed BoJack Horseman.
The original BoJack
horse
Horseman.
and man.
I wonder if
William
this
Horseman.
influenced William Horseman. Right, do you want to carry on? What section are we on next?
The last quatrain.
Oh. Usually it's the final couplet because that's the name of the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I should have said the last quatrain.
No, it definitely doesn't. It's not as good. The bloody spur cannot provoke him on, that sometimes anger thrusts into his hide, which heavily he answers with a groan, more sharp to me than spurring to his side.
Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a horrible sight. This whole thing.
Yeah.
If you saw this out in the countryside, you'd be scarred for life, quite honestly.
Yeah. I suppose it was common for people to have spurs in their horses, as they still do.
Yeah.
To prick them on.
Yeah, exactly. So he's, in this image, he's jabbing his spurs.
Yeah, and it's already covered in blood.
Yeah. So he's been jabbing
unless
constantly.
bloody is like saying, God damn. Goddamn spur. Bloody spur.
This bloody spur.
These bloody spurs. Useless, this spur. It's doing nothing. It's blunt. I've kicked him so many times. It's not even sharp. The bloody spur cannot prevail. The bloody spur isn't doing anything. I like this, that sometimes anger thrusts into his hide. It's like, it's not me doing it.
Yeah,
it's anger.
My anger.
It's anger. It's not me. It's not like I can
promise
do about
it wasn't me. It was the anger, sir.
The anger, sir. Yeah, so he's kicking his horse, which makes no sense. I mean, he's upset, so he's not making sense. But he's trying not to go fast away from his love, and yet he's kicking his horse to go faster.
Which is crazy.
All mixed up.
I mean, it is really mixed up. And also interesting that his initial feelings, anger at leaving his lover.
Yeah. He's not. I mean, he's covering his sadness with anger.
Covering his sadness, but that's a classic male thing, isn't it?
And he hasn't reached. But maybe he'll be sad eventually. But right now, he's just pissed off about it.
Angrily, just jabbing his
horse, and his horse is sympathetically slowing his pace down.
I mean, you got to feel sorry for the horse here.
I feel incredibly sorry for the horse. This is not Shakespeare at his best.
It is not. He's not painting himself in a great light.
Which I, really respect him for.
Absolutely.
Not that he's doing this, but that he's prepared.
He's written it.
Prepared to paint himself in a bad light.
There's not enough of that around in the modern day. People are very conscious to paint themselves in this perfect image of themselves, with Instagram and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I do.
If Shakespeare had Instagram, he'd put all the ugly shots of himself.
Would he, though? You'd hope he would.
You'd hope he would, but he'd be
maybe
influenced.
just be the highlight reel of his work instead.
Showing off about his next play at the Globe. So happy to finally announce Romeo and Juliet.
My 26th run at the Globe Theatre.
This one's a special one.
You haven't seen nothing yet. Oh, and also at the end of this quatrain, which is I think almost the worst bit. He's saying that the groan that he produces from the horse by kicking him actually hurts Shakespeare more than it hurts the horse.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is madness.
So he's angrily kicking him, but every kick is hurting him.
It's hurting them both.
It's hurting them both, let's be honest.
But hurting Shakespeare more.
Which is insane. It just isn't.
This hurts me more than it hurts you. Awful.
Horrible thing to say. Yeah. That horse, if the horse heard this sonnet, he'd be fuming.
Which he clearly, I think this horse is very sympathetic.
Absolutely.
I think this horse could understand.
And when he got to the stables, he's chatting to the other horses. He's going, I've had an absolute nightmare journey.
I've had a mare.
Oh, very good, very good.
I've had a mare there.
I've had a mare there, and then one of the other horses as well. You wait until you hear the bloody sonnet he's written about you, man.
Yeah, they're all reading it, and then he comes in to the stable, and they're like, "Shut up, put it under the hay, put it under the hay." And then he sees it, and he's like, "We reading?" Like, nothing. Benvolio.
All right, well.
Mercutio showed me. I don't know why. I'm just going with all the Romeo and Juliet names now, and then they have to show it him, and then it's hard to open because they've got hooves, haven't they?
It's a real palaver.
But they finally get to the right one.
Page. The hooves just scrabbling back and forth, ripping other pages.
I mean, he's just written it. Apparently, it's already got into a collection. But anyway,
no, don't worry about
take
that.
liberties here.
Yeah, sad times really for that horse.
Rough.
No two ways about
Yeah,
it.
it's a rough journey, and then he has to read that at the end of it.
Final couplet.
Final couplet. Do the honours.
For that same groan doth put this in my mind. My grief lies onward, and my joy behind.
There it is, the final couplet.
Stunning.
Yeah, he's explaining why that kicking, that groan produced by the kicking hurts him more than the horse. He's giving explanation for that.
Yeah, because he needed to be
Yeah,
honest.
you can't leave it at that.
Because everyone
You're
was going,
like,
sorry mate, what are you talking about?
you better explain that.
Yeah.
And he's saying that it reminds him of his own pain, that he's riding on towards misery and leaving joy behind.
God,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, it kind of comes back to where the poem started.
Yeah,
It's very
full circle. It's quite his vibe, isn't it? In the final couplet.
Well, sometimes it sort of
wrap it up.
Yeah, sometimes it jets off in a new, surprising
Yeah,
direction.
go, whoa,
right?
what are you
Wow.
doing? Yeah,
But quite often, sort of summarizes.
yeah. A nice little summary. Good
Nice
to
little
have.
summary. And this
Spark
one, I
notes.
suppose, he's so deep in his mood here that he's not going to break out of it, is he?
No,
He's deep.
no, he's not
deep
going to
in the
go,
trenches
because
of
sometimes
his depression.
that's right. At the end of some of his sonnets, he goes, "But life's all right."
Yeah, but hey ho, always look on the right side of life. That's not
This
happening
is
here.
not one of those. No, this
definitely
is. I feel like absolute shit.
I feel like shit. My horse feels like shit. I'm going to give my horse a load of shit for it.
My bloody horse.
My bloody horse.
Well, quite the sonnet.
Yeah.
A real dark one for an Easter
dark
Sunday.
A dark one for the Easter Sunday, yeah. It's not particularly compatible, but yeah, and I mean, my God, I pity the people he's going home to.
Oh, that is true. You've got to spare a thought for those.
You see him coming down the lane, you think, oh, gosh.
God, his bloody horse dripping with blood, crying.
Yeah, covered in wee.
You're covered in his own
Someone's
wee.
got to wash that horse. Little Hamlet's got to wash that horse.
Yeah, he's definitely going back to his wife and kids, isn't he? In my head.
In my head, that's where he's going back, yeah.
And his poor wife going, oh.
Poor Anne.
Yeah, and then he comes in, he's saying, oh, I feel terrible. And she's asking, why do you feel bad? Would he say?
I don't know, does he want to volunteer that?
He doesn't want to volunteer that, does he? Probably. So he's just miserable.
Miserable. I hope he's not going to treat his family like he's treated the horse.
I bloody hope not. But you can never say never. Poor bastards, a lot of them. Sonnet 50, everyone. So now I've asked Jacob to go away and do his own translation of this sonnet. And he's taken his quill and popped it in some ink and spent days working on this, I hope. So
torturous nights and agonising mornings and rewrites.
And you actually got a horse, didn't you, just to try and
I
get
got a
in the
horse, I
mindset?
rode to Stratford on it.
Exactly, yeah. You really got quite method with
kicked it all the way there.
So let's have a listen to Jacob's version of Sonnet 50.
Here we go. I'm travelling along so sadly because my destination, the end of this tiring journey, will just give me the time and space to reflect how many miles I am now away from my friend. The horse carrying me, weighed down by my grief, trudges sluggishly on, supporting my heaviness, as though the bastard intuited that I didn't want to go quickly as I'm leaving you. The blood-tipped spur that I sometimes kick him with, angrily, doesn't hurry him on. It just arouses a deep groan, more painful to me than the spur is to him, because that groan just served to remind me that desolation lies ahead and Dick behind. Oh yeah.
Wow, I did not see that last bit coming.
There's the little turn that Shakespeare sometimes does that we talked about.
Very nice.
Yeah.
A
Desolation
great
lies ahead and Dick
interpretation.
behind.
Yeah, no, that's
Well.
what a final couplet.
Yeah, that teacher from America, he was American. It was an American school group. He's going to be furious if he hears this.
He's gonna be
Absolutely furious. Jacob Fortune-Lloyd's at it again.
Oh, classic. Well, thanks for doing that. That was
a pleasure.
Fantastic. So, to end the podcast today on a happy note, we're going to talk about Easter in Shakespeare. Is
Easter
that right,
in Shakespeare.
Jacob?
We are, yeah. I was very inspired by your episode with Keith Keating.
Yes.
The great Shakespeare scholar and actor, Keith Keating. And you did a very funny and very informative episode about Christmas in Shakespeare. Am I right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great listen. I would heartily recommend it. So yeah, I was inspired to look at Easter in Shakespeare, and also because this has been such a dark and depressing sonnet, I thought we would end happily.
That's nice, yeah.
And it is Easter Sunday after all. So the only direct mention of Easter I could find is in Romeo and Juliet,
Really?
which you've already talked about a bit,
Mm-hmm.
where Mercutio asks Benvolio,
The horse.
the horse, if, quotes, he did not fall out with a tailor for wearing his new doublet before Easter.
Wow.
So he's mocking him for this sparkly new doublet he's wearing. And it refers to a superstition back then about it being unlucky not to wear new clothes on Easter Sunday. So you're supposed to wear new
Really?
clothes on Easter Sunday, not before.
Right.
If you didn't wear new clothes on Easter Sunday, the chances are you might be shat on by a bird.
No.
Yeah. That was, you had it coming. And there was a saying that went with it, which was, quotes, at Easter let your clothes be new, or else be sure you will it rue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I don't know what that's about. My own interpretation is that in honor of Easter Sunday, you had to resurrect your wardrobe.
Oh, God.
There you are.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, you had to wear something new, but not before Easter.
And in this case, he was wearing it.
In this case,
pre-Easter.
he's got this sparkly new doublet on, and he's like strutting around like a peacock. And Mercutio's like, "Oi,
Oh, yeah.
what tailor have you upset?"
Shot him down.
Yeah. So the tailor's made him this, and then he's gone out and worn it.
And the
tailor's
tailor
like,
would be pissed off.
yeah,
Because he
potentially.
wants him to present it on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. When everyone's presenting their new garms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, what a time that would have been to just walk outside and everyone's in new clothes.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it sort of takes the gloss off your own.
That's true.
That's Benvolio's
because
been
no
like,
one's
I
gonna
want,
be like,
I want
oh,
people to notice.
yeah,
but then
that's so
Mercutio's like,
true.
you want people to notice.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because you would be a bit like, oh, is that new? Well, yeah, obviously it's new. It's Easter.
Yeah. Also, clothes were such a big deal back then. Color,
Yeah.
like the color of clothing you were wearing.
But I bet there was a bit of one-upmanship about the most extravagant
Yeah.
Easter outfit.
You would have thought so. And also, I suppose, unless you were very rich, you didn't wear new clothes that often
That's true, yeah.
because they were expensive, and and you just looked after them, and so I like that.
Very nice. Very nice.
And then that got me thinking about resurrection
Mm.
in Shakespeare, and there is quite a lot of resurrection talk
Right.
in Shakespeare. And the two that I came up with, the famous one is the resurrection of Hermione in Winter's Tale.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
of course.
She turns into a statue
Mm.
after she's wrongly accused of infidelity
Yes.
and put on trial
The big trial.
and put to death.
Yeah.
But then she turns into a statue before she dies.
I think
Am I
that's right,
misremembering
yeah.
that?
I mean, it sounds mad, but that sounds about right.
Yeah. And Leontes then sees the error of his ways when he realizes that he was wrong to accuse her. And then at the end of the play, with all the cast assembled, he takes everyone to see the statue of his wife, which is so lifelike. It looks like she's just
Right, yes, I
she's
remember
just
this now.
stopped
Yeah.
in time, is about to move, and then she does come to life, and it is a miracle.
Amazing.
And then she forgives him 16 years later.
Wow.
Yeah, and she meets her son.
It's 16 years later, is it?
I think it's 16
She's been a
years.
statue for 16 years.
Yeah, I think she's been a
Nightmare.
statue for a long time.
Do you reckon she could think when she
I don't
was
know
a statue?
where I plucked that out from.
Yeah,
I could be completely wrong about that.
16 years. If that is correct, that's unbelievable.
I think quite a lot of time
knowledge
has passed though.
But yeah, I wonder if she can think in that time, because you'd be fuming. There's no way you'd be like forgiving him.
Well, 16 years though.
Time to go through anger then become
yeah,
and then forgiveness.
yeah. You'd be a guru by the time you came out.
That's
that
true.
statue.
That's very true. Oh God, it's not worth thinking about though. 16 years as a statue.
No.
thanks.
No.
But obviously Jesus was resurrected much quicker than that.
Also, she's not changing her clothes, is she? Every year, so she's getting shat on every
Absolutely.
year
Yeah,
at Easter.
Nightmare.
by every
Yeah.
bird. I guess she gets washed
She's
down.
just one big shit statue.
I mean, she'd be well taken care of.
Yeah,
As statues
you'd
go.
hope so.
It's not,
You hope she's
the
not
run-of-the-mill
just
statue, is
abandoned.
she?
Yeah.
But Or maybe she's not kept outside, actually. She's probably not kept outside, is she?
No.
Or like birds like specifically coming indoors.
They're all flying in one at a time to shit on her.
There's just guys employed every Easter to drive. It's like the Hitchcock film. They're just like bombarding the palace. Yeah.
Great. So
And then the other one, the other resurrection is Prospero in The Tempest, who says or claims, quote, "Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let them forth." So he's saying that he has resurrected the dead in his life. You don't see that in the play,
No,
but he says he's done it.
that's convenient.
Yeah, it's convenient. All right, mate.
All right, mate.
Sure.
You've
Yeah.
resurrected. Yeah.
But I like that as well because there's this thing that I learned at university that Shakespeare is thought to be seeing himself in Prospero because it might be his last play, that he might be bowing out with the Tempest. And when Prospero kind of gives up his powers, breaks his staff and gives up his powers and sets Caliban free, not Caliban free, well, yes, Caliban free, but also Ariel, the spirit, and becomes a man again and is kind of an old man. And he's probably going to die not long after.
Yeah.
It's Shakespeare giving up his pen, his writing, and his career. And this thing of graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let them forth. It could be Shakespeare saying, I have resurrected many historical figures from the past in my career. Henry V, Richard II, all the history plays, all the Roman plays or stuff, all these famous people that I have resurrected and put on stage for your pleasure. And I'm now done with that. I'm not doing that anymore.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice little nod to himself.
Nice little nod to himself. Yeah. Easter egg.
Smug nod.
His own Easter egg.
Oh, yeah.
As it were.
Oh, that's very good.
And talking of eggs.
We've got
My
to
last,
talk of eggs.
Well, we could.
We might as well.
We should. It's Easter. I looked this up. There are several mentions of eggs.
I'd hope so.
Yeah. The fool in King Lear talks about eggs.
Oh yeah, he's got a bit about eggs.
He's got bits about eggs, like cracking an egg in two because you've split your kingdom like the two crowns of an egg.
That's right. Yeah.
But the one because I did Macbeth, I was in Macbeth, and the one I remembered was when Macbeth sends the murderers to kill Macduff and his family, but they only find the family. Macduff isn't there, and one of them says, "Where's your treacherous dad?" And his son, Macduff's son, comes to his dad's defense and says, "He's not a traitor. My dad's not a traitor." The murderer, just before he stabs him, says, "You egg."
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does, which always feels very weird and sort of funny.
Did they keep that in?
Yeah, they kept it in. We kept it in. He says, "What, you egg, young fry of treachery." Fry meaning like
Fried egg.
Yeah, you're a fried egg now that I've killed you. That's awesome. Meaning like young fish or something, like little fish, like little fry, little thing. Yeah. And you're the son of a traitor. Wow. But yeah, you egg was it just meant like
weird, isn't it?
I think it was also about being like small and young and fledgling, like a little thing that hasn't even become
okay, that makes sense.
A creature yet.
You egg.
You egg.
What a weird thing to say.
Yeah, and he's like, and often like the kid is like either attacking him or trying to defend his mum, and he's like looking down at him like, "What, you egg? Like, you're not going to hurt me." And stabs him, which is brutal. It's a brutal scene.
Horrible stuff.
But it's a surprising word to hear.
Yeah,
which I think is the intention.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
Great. Well.
So there you go. There's some Easter in Shakespeare.
Thanks so much for bringing those. What a treat. What an Easter treat.
Yeah, a few Easter eggs in there.
And of course, we'll see you back next week.
Next week,
Jacob, for Sonnet 51.
Yeah, the second half of the tale of Shakespeare and the
Tale
Horse.
Of Woe.
The Tale of Woe.
But until then, happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Theo.